When you get a soil test back, you will see a lot of numbers. Most of them talk about the different nutrients in the soil and the levels. A lot of times your soil tests will actually divide the levels into below optimum, optimum, and excessive, so you can actually judge what your nutrient levels are looking like based on what the soil test tells you. So you don't have to say, okay, this number is 50, but what does that mean? The soil test will usually tell you exactly what it means. And the beautiful thing about soil tests from universities, they'll usually come with recommendations so that you know, okay, my phosphorus is below optimum. What do I do with it? They'll give you your fertilization recommendations. When you get a soil test report back and you see below optimum in one of the categories, how you can think about it is actually almost like feeding your horse or other livestock animal. Plants need certain levels of nutrients to grow. And if you want a horse to grow, you need to feed it a certain balance of nutrients. Plants are exactly the same way. So every different crop that you're going to plant in this field has different requirements. So the soil test that you're looking at would be for whatever type of pasture you have. Maybe it's grass, maybe it's part legume, maybe it's a mix. And so each certain type of pasture is going to have different requirements. So when you see below optimum on your potassium, that means for this specific crop, there's not enough potassium in the soil. And you know that each crop is going to need to take these nutrients out of the soil, and when it's at optimum levels, when the pH, the acidity is at the optimum levels, then you'll have good optimum growth for your plants. So in the past, a lot of farmers have just put down lime every couple of years and called that their soil management. The reason that's not really acceptable these days is because they don't actually know what's in their soil. Lime is what we use to raise the pH of a soil, which means you're making it less acidic. So if you don't know what the pH of your soil is, you should not be applying lime. Some regions have more acidic soil than others, and they'll need more lime applications. Sometimes, if a field has been limed, year after year, it's actually not going to need any more. And lime also takes a long time to actually make an impact on the soil. So if you've limed last year, it may not show up in the soil tests yet. So you need to have a soil test about every 3 years to get a good feeling of what your pH is and what your soil nutrients are. When you're taking forage samples from your pastures, you need to make sure to basically act like a horse. You walk through the pastures, you want to take random samples, but you don't want to take it from the highest levels or the lowest levels or the wettest levels in your pasture. You want it to be very random and representative of the entire field. You're going to want to walk through the field with either some clippers, or you could just use your hands to take some grab samples. You'll want between 10 and 20 samples per field, depending on the size of the field, and you'll want to grab it like a horse would eat it. So we know that a horse takes grass very close to the surface, so you'll want to grab it down close to the soil and put it in your bag. So that's basically it. You want to know exactly what the horses are eating, so you have to act like a horse when you take the samples. When you've taken your grass or pasture samples and you get your results back, you don't need to worry about what species you're grazing, because the results are going to come back the same for any species. The nutritional composition of the forage is the same. It's just that different species have different requirements.